We've been talking about broadcasting pickleball and how to get it better, how to improve it, how to get more spectators, how to get more sponsors. And so I figured I'd bring out a longtime friend I work with in tennis, now in pickleball. He's the man that did the very first pickleball broadcast with CBS Sports Network at the U.S. Open. He's done the U.S. Open every single year. So if you've been to the U.S. Open and watched any of the U.S. Open pickleball live and or tape delay or ongoing, they keep improving each and every year. Lives in my neighborhood, and we get a chance to hit some pickleballs together. And that's Ray Colavacchio. Ray from now has started his own 24-hour pickle TV on Amazon Prime. So he's still involved, obviously, with CBS Sports. He does many, many other sports as well. And his number one announcer, Dave Benz, if you've watched the coverage of the U.S. Open, Dave is just has done NBA, he's done about every sport, but just does a great job with pickleball as well, and being in that business. So I appreciate the work that you've done so far. And anybody watch the U.S. Open coverage over the years in pickleball? Well, these are guys that make it happen right here. So I'm glad to have them on the same stage, and we'll bring you out. So I'm gonna turn the mic over. These guys are professionals, so I don't need to do all the talking. So Dave Benz, why don't you guys introduce yourself, give a little background on yourself and Ray, and then I'll interact with some questions. But once you guys take the mic, and I'll jump in if you need me.
You know what a mic is, right?
I've had a couple. Before we go any further, I'm going to let Ray go first, but my name's obviously much easier to say. Ray, I actually know how to spell his name. I've known Ray for 25 years, so it's Koliakovo, or I forget how Siri usually says it when I say Ray. Koliakovo, yeah. But it's a lot of vowels for sure.
You know, I begged Dave to come here and do this with me because of his gift of gab. So no, having him alongside of me throughout this whole process has been a blessing for not only one of my best friends, but just the professionalism and who he is and what he's done for every sport, not just, we met back a very, very long time ago in Miami. We started a network called Whammy. We had the Marlins and the Heat contract. And I came over from a network, and Dave came over from another network, and we got together, and basically we've been together. Any kind of TV project I have involved, I always try to get Dave involved because his professionalism and what he does and what he brings to the table. So that's outstanding. So before we get into anything, I want to play a video for you. My son's over here. Everybody say hello to Ray. He does what we do, and he actually. He's going to play a video for you, and I want to we have a couple videos we want to play for you to kind of show you the progress of what happened and how this whole thing came about. So before I speak anymore, Ray, you ready to go? You got audio? Okay, go ahead and play it.
The Paradise Coast of Florida is synonymous with white sand beaches and the warm Gulf of Mexico waters, but it is also now synonymous with pickleball. Welcome to the inaugural U.S. Open Pickleball Championships presented by Minto here at East Naples Community Park in beautiful Naples, Florida. And hello, everybody. Dave Benz alongside multi-time champion in the sport, Rob Elliott. Rob, we're happy to have you along.
Thank you.
Pickleball is a sport that is exploding right now nationally.
It really is. It's growing internationally all over the place. People are playing and giving up their other sports because it's one of the most addictive sports out there right now.
In 2016, Naples, Florida officially staked its claim as pickleball capital of the world, hosting the inaugural U.S. Open in its state-of-the-art facility. A year later, the venue and the tourney are both bigger and better than ever. And tonight, the best players in the world vie to add their names to a small and prestigious list of U.S. Open champions. It's next on CBS Sports Network.
And that's a ball Kim's got to put away. I mean, Anna Lee popped it up. You've got to put that down, and Kim knows it.
What a backhand out of Anna Lee, and another backhand out of Sobek.
That'll do it.
Wow, what a dominant performance to close this thing out, 11-2.
Yeah, power game from the youngsters out there. They really controlled aside from the very start of the first game, they really The stranglehold on this match all the way through.
They scored 19 of the final 21 points to cruise to the win, 11-5, 11-2. We will hear from the youngsters after this quick timeout. Taking on Annalee Waters, 12 years old, out of Delray Beach, Florida. There's Annalee, just moving towards the right on your screen, and her teammate Stacy Townsend, 31 years old, out of West Palm Beach, Florida. And Waters hits it right into Merchant. And now 2 points away from moving on to the final.
Yeah, that's a tough ball when it goes right off the top of the net there. There's nothing you can do.
And welcome back to Naples, Florida. What a match it was that we just saw. Youth is served here in Naples on Zing Zang Championship Court. And I am joined now by the youngsters, William Sobek, Annalee Waters. Guys, you are combined ages 26 years old, and you are making this look far too easy. To what do you attribute your success here this week?
Well, I contribute. Wait, what do you mean? Like,
What's been the key to your success here this week?
oh, practice, always working hard. I mean, always going. My family always does so much to me. I also have a lot of supporters, or like some. I really like the practice here, and it's really great. So.
William, you were the youngest player in this tournament when it debuted in 2016. So what is it like for you now to see other youngsters coming up like Annalee?
It's fantastic. You know, you always want younger players to go in this game. It's really great, you know, progress in this game, and you always want to have a good future in this game. So.
And much like Annalee, your dad, you won a gold here earlier this week. Annalee, you've been playing with your mom amongst other players. How has that helped you be able to be successful here in pickleball?
Playing with players like my mom, and it's just really helped my game to get level up, and playing with William's just so much fun, and having the experience of playing in center court is just really an awesome experience.
And you were here on center court yesterday as well, so is it a daunting feeling to be out here, or are you kind of getting used to it?
I love the energy here. Just knowing that people are here in the stadium to watch us play pickleball is just really amazing, and having great partners really helps to make this experience better.
I'm going to ask the question on everybody's mind, because people look at you and they see the future of this sport. Are you guys looking at making pickleball a long-term passion as fans are starting to gather and really support you guys?
Oh yeah, I've already been playing pickleball for 10 years. Might as well keep going and be one of the best. So, yeah.
Is that a similar goal for you, Annalee?
Definitely. I love playing pickleball.
Well, we love watching you guys. Let's hear it, guys. Let's hear it for William Sobek and Annalee Waters. Fantastic performance. Congratulations, guys. We're going to take another timeout, but much more to come from Naples, Florida.
Yeah, so that's it. You know, my daughter's the exact same age. She's here too, so somewhere. She's the exact same age as Annalee. And before pickleball, I do a lot of sports, all different types of sports. I mean, you know, everything under the sun, all conventional ball sports and whatnot from every different network. And this is the first time, our truck is parked right next to the court. This is the first time in my whole career that I had to actually get out of the truck and walk out to the court to see what was happening. Because I saw a 12-year-old who's the same age as my daughter beating pros. And I'm like, what is going on here? This is crazy. So that alone right there was like an unbelievable experience just to see that. And this is where it all began. The U.S. Open is where it all began. I mean, you know.
I mean, when I look back at those clips, it's just kind of mind-boggling to think that, well, first of all, I didn't realize, you know, Williams had a nice career, but I didn't realize I should have talked to Annalee first in the interview. But it's just crazy to think how the sport has changed. The first year we did the U.S. Open, you know, it was a much different sport than it is today. There was so much more dinking, and that's still obviously a huge part of the game, but it just felt slower, and I think it's just gotten so much more interesting and so much more fun to watch. And, you know, the way that it continues to grow is just fantastic. And this guy, by the way, getting out of the truck, and we're going to talk a little bit more about him and his influence on this sport. I don't think people really know how important he has been to this sport, but just to have the vision to be like, I remember you telling me in 2017, you're like, there's like a 12 and 13-year-old, and they're like making a lot of noise. We should try to get their match on center court because
It was actually, we had pros on and we had time delay. We had like about an hour of nothing. I went to the organizers, Terry and Chris. I'm like, we need to have something on. We can't just sit here for an hour. Oh, let's put some youngsters on. Put anybody on. And that's what they stuck on. They stuck on Annie Lee Waters. I'm like, really? It was crazy.
Yeah, it was. It's amazing to see what it's done. But here's the thing and he and I joke about this all the time. He mentioned that we've done a lot of different things together. I mean, we really have. We met working at a station called Whammy 69 in Miami. It was on Lincoln Road down on Miami Beach. And we were there for a little under 3 years together. And Ray at that point was a videographer, which is a fancy word for a cameraman. And he did a little bit of other stuff. But when Whammy shut down, he decided he was going to become a freelancer, and then he started buying equipment, and next thing I knew, he was getting involved with building a truck for remote events, and then all of a sudden he's crewing all these events for all these sports networks, and just to see what you've done with your career is amazing to me. But we've done everything from poker to snowmobile racing to softball.
Yeah, but let's get into like why this whole thing.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. So
Yeah.
the next clip we're going to show is, believe it or not, as crazy as it is, the next clip we're going to show has a huge it's a huge factor in why we're all here today. If this clip we're going to show does not exist, we might not be here today, and that's hard to believe, and we'll explain it in a second.
Let me just add one more thing to that. So the first year, I'll tell you the whole story about how I was introduced to pickleball. But the first year that I was introduced to pickleball, I got a phone call, and the phone call was, well, I probably shouldn't say.
I think you let's see the clip first.
Yeah, let's see the clip.
All right.
All right, you got it.
They are the fastest of the fast, the best of the best. And this afternoon in Naples, the world's greatest watercross racers converge on Sugden Regional Park to decide the World Championships. 0 to 80 in the blink of an eye with no breaks. And it's all right now on CBS Sports Network.
All right, does anybody know what the key word to that whole sentence was? The word Naples. So I was doing pro watercross for CBS Sports Network, and now I'm a packager. A packager is conception to broadcast, soup to nuts, basically the whole project by itself. So we were doing pro watercross live, and I got a phone call. Should I get into that story, I guess, right?
Yeah,
I got
totally.
I got a phone call, just a random phone call when I was preparing for another event. And this lady said, hey, do you have 5 minutes? I'm like, yeah, I got 5 minutes. What do you need? You came from a great, contact of mine, which was the people at Naples, Florida. They called me and they said, I need to talk to you about getting something on TV. And I'm like, all right, well, you came from a great contact. I'll tell you whatever you need. I'll help you out in any way. And it was a phone call from Terry Graham from the U.S. Open. And she asked me, for about 35 minutes we got on the phone and we were just talking. And I'm like, are you ever going to tell me the name of the sport that you want to put on TV? She goes, well, I didn't really want to tell it to you because you're going to laugh at me. And I'm like, well, what is it? She said, pickleball. I'm like, what the heck is pickleball? And this is back in 2015. And I'm like, whatever you want, man. Can you tell me more about it? Like, what does it do? How do we do it? Well, I'm going to set you up with a pro. You're going to go down and play with it. So play it. So we went down to Delray Beach, Florida, to an old gym. We walk in, and we had headbands and tube socks up to here. Everybody was 75 plus. No offense to anybody that's 75 plus. And we walked in. I played college sports. This guy is a professional, so-called professional. We walk in, and I looked at him. I'm like, dude, do you seriously want to do this? He's like, yeah, just put your paddles in the box and shut up. So we put our paddles in a box, a cardboard box. We got pulled out with another, an older couple, I'd say probably about 70 years old. And I looked at him again. I'm like, do you really want to do this? He goes, yeah, just play. We got our butts handed to us 11-2. I'm like, aren't you a professional? He goes, aren't you an athlete? I go, all right, touche. So we played the rest of the day, and we progressively got better. And I'm a ping pong player, so I really enjoyed it. I called up my contact right there, right after that, was Billy Stone, and I said, we're putting something on TV. He's like, what are we putting on TV? I go, I can't tell you the name of it. And he goes, no, seriously, what is it? I go, it's pickleball. He goes, what the heck is pickleball? He goes, all right, listen, I'll give you an hour. It's going to be a tape-delayed program, but this better be good. So we did an hour for the first year. We did 1 hour tape-delayed, and here we are how many years later, and we're at 10 hours live on CBS. Now, there's been a progress that's from there that's been going, you know. I mean,
But the whole thing was Terry got Ray's number from the people at East Naples Community Park because she knew that the watercross had been on CBS, and so she was like, "How did you guys do that?" And so that's how the call happened. And then Ray called me, and I was at that point, I think, finishing my 4th season as the play-by-play announcer for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And he calls me, and he's like, "Hey, when's your season end?" And at that point, the Timberwolves were, you know, in their 20-year run of being absolutely not very good. And so I didn't have to worry about doing any playoff games.
Thank God.
Yeah, so the timing worked out that the season ended and I could go. But I had the same reaction as you know, everybody else.
I'll never forget when I told you. You're like, we're doing what?
Yeah, I'm like, and we had done so many things together. So, you know, I wouldn't put anything past Ray, but it was the same thing. Like, wait, what is pickleball? I have no idea what this is. I've never heard of it.
There's even a deeper thought that goes even further than that, which I won't bore you with, but the reason I got into pro watercross is because I did snowmobile racing for 10 years on CBS. So
Which you got into the snowmobile racing because of my time too. So he and I, we're pretty interwoven. We've done so many things together. Yeah.
So I'd like to show one more, you know, we got a couple more videos. I don't want to bore you with too much stuff, but this is the progression of the U.S. Open, which in my opinion, I think the U.S. Open is the end-all be-all. It's the reason why pickleball is where it is today. And, you know, my wife told me this, that don't forget to mention that, you know, when I told, I not only went to CBS, I went to all the networks that I packaged for, especially Tennis Channel, and they basically, you know, shut the door on me. They're like, we're not putting that on TV. You're crazy. So Tennis Channel wanted nothing to do with it. ESPN wanted nothing to do with it. Fox wanted nothing to do with it. Nobody wanted anything to do with it, but CBS, you know, being the wild world of sports, they took a chance and they jumped on it.
Yeah, and it had never been on TV prior to that.
Ever.
At least certainly not on a network level like that. So it's not, and now how many hours of coverage did we do this past
We
US
did
Open?
like 60 hours, but we did 10 hours live on CBS, which is like unheard of. But let's show the progression. Sure. Now there's a couple of graphics in this I wanted you really to pay attention to is the progression of pickleball too. So go ahead, play the US Open one.
As the point continues, whoa. It certainly has an unusual name, but make no mistake, pickleball is addictive, and it is the fastest growing sport in America today. So put your questions aside and focus only on this one. Why haven't you played it yet? And while you ponder that, glue yourself into a chair and lock yourself into CBS Sports Network, because right now you're about to see the best players in the world battle it out from Naples, Florida. This is the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships. And let's talk to our champs. Kyle, This is basically a home game for you. How big was it to be able to have the crowd support and to be able to win in front of them?
Man, it's awesome. I remember my first tournament here when I was 16, 5 years ago, and we played on portable nets and blue painter's tape lines. And for the whole directing crew and Bill from Minto to put on this amazing event, and for this, just to prove how big the sport really is, it's incredible. And for me to win it here, it's unbelievable. It's awesome, really.
Let's talk about the tournament as a whole, because Brian, it really has grown. Last year they had around 800 participants. This year, nearly 1,300. And over the course of the week-long tournament, 182 gold medals given out.
Yeah.
It's known as the Paradise Coast. It's also now known as the home to pickleball. The U.S. Open Pickleball Championships are back, and today they're on CBS Sports Network.
While we're looking at the Open, by the way, so you guys know, Ray spent like a lot of hours this week going through all this video and putting this stuff together.
It was a lot. Trust me, it was a deep dive.
Another spectacular day in Naples, Florida, as we gear up for the best part of the Minto U.S. Open Pickleball Championships. We are absolutely thrilled to be back broadcasting this on CBS Sports Network, the 9th year for this tournament in East Naples Community Park, which has become the epicenter of the pickleball world. And this stadium has gotten even bigger and better, 300 more seats on Championship Court. And there is a lot of buzz here today as we get set for our coverage. And hello, friends. Welcome to Naples. Dave Pence alongside Chad Edwards. Great to have you back, my friend.
Thank you.
And, normally it's Championship Saturday that's the toughest ticket here, but this one today might be the toughest ticket of the week.
I mean, this is the most anticipated match or pairing to come out here. I've been coming here for 9 years. I haven't had a buzz like this yet.
And we will get into that in just a moment, but let's talk about the tournament overall real quick, because I alluded to how it is growing, and it has exploded.
So from 800 to 3,400 people playing. You look at the numbers.
By the way, I don't know if I think most people know, we were alluding to Andre Agassi's pro pickleball debut. That was the day we were broadcasting that. That was crazy.
This goes on, and it shows their interview and all that. We don't have to go through it all, but the big thing I want you to notice was the 800 from the last graphic to 3,400.
And by the way, it's only capped at 3,400 because that's all they can get in. Like the demand is just insane.
It was 7,000 people tried to get in, from what I understand, which is huge. People that do all the tournaments out there, and there's a couple in the front row here that they know that getting 7,000 people in a tournament. Carl, you've ran tournaments before, it's crazy, and to only get 3,400, they did a lottery and all that stuff.
Well, and I know Jim Ludwig, who's been the tournament director for a long time and stayed on board with the new ownership change. And by the way, shout out to Mike D and to Bob, who they've come on and absolutely, Bob Bowman,
That kind of leads into the next part that, doing the U.S. Open, this is not a commercial for the U.S. Open, but doing the U.S. Open is opened our door to do pretty much consult and do every kind of different pickleball event there is. So by doing the U.S. Open, I'll tell this story about Grant. He was trying to get a tournament, and
Grant Garcia,
he's my partner in Pickle TV. And one of his clients says, hey, listen, I want to show you this tape. I want it to look exactly like this. So they played my tape to Grant, which was my partner. And Grant calls me up and says, hey, listen, they just showed me your tape. They wanted to look exactly like, well, that's pretty easy. That's what I do. So I was like, all right, let's do it. And that was, I believe that was the PPA. So that's how the whole PPA thing started. So the next thing is, let's talk about the ballpark series, which is kind of cool. So doing a lot of the different events that we've done, there's been a lot of really cool experiences. One of them was the ballpark series. We did an event in Oracle Park and in Fenway Park. So, I mean, you did play-by-play for both of those, right?
Fenway Park was, I live in the Bay Area, so Oracle Park is gorgeous, but, you know.
Historic, Fenway.
Yeah, I mean, Fenway Park's got the history, and for us to do it, the only thing was Mother Nature didn't cooperate, and we were supposed to do 2 days, and we had a rain out on Saturday, which was really disappointing. But we got to call pickleball. Simone Jardim was there. She played. I believe Georgia Johnson played there as well. So it was that was super cool.
Let's roll that real quick. We'll just show you a little bit from that.
Since 1912, Fenway Park has been revered as hallowed grounds for the Red Sox. It's also seen boxing and soccer and football, but it has never before seen pickleball. That all changes now. The Pickle 4 Ballpark Series kicks off here in Boston, Massachusetts, and we're bringing you the live coverage on CBS Sports Network.
Welcome to Fenway for our second and final day of coverage for the Ballpark Series Pro Pickleball Exhibition on CBS Sports Network. It's double the fun on Sunday as the pros team up on the court. Now you might be wondering, where is Emily? We're battling a little bit of weather here in Boston today, so I am taking shelter behind the Green Monster, and it is spectacular back here. One of the most unique parts of this ballpark is the manual scoreboard. That's right, it's somebody's job to be back here during the games and updating the score live as it happens. Also behind the wall here, hundreds of thousands of signatures from players over the last 100 years have been able to sign this wall. It's pretty sweet, but we got more pickleball to talk about today because the series continues. We crowned 2 pro champs on Friday, but we're handing out a little bit more hardware today. But the Pro Showcase is not the only thing happening at the ballpark this week. Amateurs have been making great use of the 12 courts in the outfield for the last 5 days, but now the pros are taking over the main court. Now, speaking of takeover, it is the summer of pickleball on CBS Sports Network. The Ballpark Series heads to San Francisco next weekend, which is the home of our announcer. And Dave, I know you're excited about having that showcase in your backyard, but we got some business to take care of here today first.
Emily, as much as I'm looking forward to that home cooking, I don't think it gets much cooler than being here at Fenway Park. And what a night it was Friday night when the pros played for the very first time on this hallowed baseball ground. And the men were fantastic. The women were fantastic. Let's show you some of the highlights from the men's match. J.W. Johnson against Hunter Johnson, not related, in the final. And J.W. did take the first game 11-8, but then it was all Hunter Johnson. He put on a clinic in taking it in 3 games, 8-11, 11-5, 11-5. It was not as close in the women's final. Georgia Johnson, she was a mild upset and a winner over Simone Jardim in the semifinals, and then in the finals, she again pulled an upset, taking it in consecutive games over Paris Todd to be the first ever women's singles champion in the history of this ballpark series. And what fun that was. We expect it to be even better with the doubles finally taking the court at Fenway here today on this Sunday, and we are excited to bring you all the action coming up on CBS Sports Network. Pickleball made history a week ago as historic Fenway Park was host to the Pickle 4 Ballpark Series. Today, it shifts west to Oracle Park in beautiful San Francisco, and all the action is next on CBS Sports Network. Well, that is an iconic shot, the Golden Gate Bridge here in San Francisco, California, and an iconic ballpark welcoming the inaugural Ballpark Series presented by Franklin to Oracle Park here in San Francisco. The San Francisco Giants, normally home to this park, they're on an 11-game road trip. So that opens the door for pickleball to step in, and just another sign of how much this sport continues to grow by leaps and bounds, approaching 37 million players here in the United States. Look how many facilities there are to play, and Oracle Park becomes the second ever Major League Baseball stadium to host pickleball after Fenway Park hosted it last weekend. And what a gorgeous sun-splashed afternoon here in San Francisco. Dave Pence alongside Lee Waters, happy to bring you the action here on CBS Sports Network, and it will be ladies weekend, all ladies in terms of the pros here this weekend, Lee. And boy, what a lineup they have. Some of the top players in the world, including your...
So, like I said, Dave can talk, right? You got the gift of gab. So yeah, that was a very well. Let me just say this: a historic park. I'm a Yankees fan, so it was really a tough one. But to be in the Green Monster was like nothing other. I mean, it was incredible.
By the way, I want to go back to something that I kind of said casually there when we were on the graphic in that broadcast. The facilities and how the sport has grown, because I can remember when I first started, even the first couple of U.S. Opens, living in the Bay Area, there was not really anywhere to play pickleball. I mean, you could go to a tennis court and mess around, but there weren't any real pickleball facilities. There were, it was really hard to find a court to go play in a public park. And now, literally 2 days ago, when I was driven to the airport, a buddy of mine gave me a ride to the airport. My son is here with me as well. On the way, we were driving through San Francisco, and I passed this big park, and there must have been 12 pickleball courts. And the weather wasn't great. It was, a summer day in San Francisco, which is not always a treat. But I would say probably 8 of the 12 courts had people on them in a little bit of a drizzle and maybe 52 degrees and wind. So I can't, I would imagine on a nice day that there's a wait to get on those courts. And those courts didn't exist when we started doing this. So the sport just continues to grow, as you guys all know. But it's growing on TV too, and it's mind-boggling to see where it has come from and where it's still going, the trajectory that it's on.
Yeah, we saw the need for, at that point during the U.S. Open, having all that content, and then I put 2.5 years into the PPA and started everything that they've done and created their look to be sold. We saw the need for a 24-hour pickleball channel. Let's do something that's just strictly pickleball. So we launched Pickle TV, and we launched it on all the different platforms, on Amazon and all these different platforms. And we were just 24 hours pickleball. We thought that everybody wanted to see live pickleball, and that's what all the platforms want: live, 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 live. And then we realized by our numbers that live isn't really just the answer, because it doesn't really, pickleball is like hockey sometimes. It doesn't relate as well as on TV as you see it live, the speed and all that. So we decided to open up the door to other things. So we have reality shows on there. We have 2 reality shows. We have a bunch of podcasts. We have a bunch of how-to videos. And we owned the first 2 years of the PPA's content. So that's where we started, with the first 2 years of the PPA content. But since then, we've moved on to other content, newer content. Obviously, we were live the whole time for the U.S. Open this year, and we started.
You have Inside World Pickleball.
You're darn right we do.
Ray did my first CBS Sports broadcast at the Delray Beach Pickleball Open.
And that was an APP event. That was like, at the time, it was an APP event, right?
Ben Johns, Anna Lee, I mean, they all grew up in this area. So
yeah, so I have some video. I was going to pop that on for you.
That's when I looked young.
Yeah, you still look young. So we went on and did we started the PPA. We did the first national broadcast for the APP. Then I was brought on to the MLP at that time. The MLP was a completely different entity at the time. And they called me up for some consulting. And they're like, yeah, we're going to put it on the local network. I'm like, are you out of your mind? We need to put this on national television. And they're like, all right, let's go. So then we put that on CBS too as well. CBS, once they saw what the U.S. Open did, they were able to jump on and do that. And then we did the Vegas Open, we did the Atlantic City Open. We just kept on putting more and more in different networks, not just CBS. We did a bunch of different networks, all different things.
And, he hit on something. I do feel like as a broadcast sport, I don't know where the ceiling is, and I don't think we've hit the ceiling, but the sport is so much better to see live than necessarily what you see on TV. And in some ways, I think the future of broadcasting the sport really is, finding neat things that people can feel an association to, rather than necessarily just seeing the pros play. I think the big events, you're going to watch Andre Agassi play at the U.S. Open. You're going to watch Anna Leigh Waters play for a title because that's compelling, and obviously they're great champions. But to just watch a random pro event in the middle of the season, sometimes I feel like it's lost in translation just how good these players are, and to be able to change speeds. So I think that the sport itself doesn't always, as you said, sometimes it was a thing that hockey has dealt with. Hockey is so much better to go watch in person. I feel like pickleball is the same way, but I think you've done, you brought in the kitchen camera and you've experimented with,
Yeah, the way to cover it. When I first got introduced to the sport, I'm like, all right, I had to dissect it and say, how do we make this interesting? So we came up with a kitchen camera, the side cameras. First time it was ever done. We did a high and a low.
Net cameras.
Yeah, we did some net cameras and stuff. So we
replay. You brought replay.
Yeah, we did replay. So the first time replay's ever been done in pickleball, I had to basically hold Connor Bordeaux's by the neck and say, we're doing replay. So he's like, what do you mean we're doing replay? I was blessed to be able to do the first replay for Major League Baseball. I just happened to be the producer for a spring training game. And it was a disaster. What we did was fine, but the refs were fumbling over everything. It was nuts. But anyway, I was like, let's just do that here. We put a ref in the truck, we put a ref on the court, we give them headsets and let them talk it out. And that's what we did. So we did the first, I think it was in California. I think it was in San Clemente.
Newport Beach, maybe?
It was one of those two. So we did replay. So, progressively, and to touch upon what Dave said, where's the ceiling? That's kind of what this is about, right? Where does this go? We all know that it's just going to keep on growing in the sense of players. This is a player sport. This is bags, paddles, balls, sneakers, all that stuff. Tournaments, local tournaments and stuff. And what I like is what the Arizona Pickleball League has done is gone local, right? And they have teams against each other. What I believe the guys in here today, the Florida Pickleball League, he's doing his own thing. And you're getting cities to play against each other. I think you can even break it down even further than that. I live in a neighborhood which we have 20 guys that play on a daily basis, and there's other neighborhoods that are very close to us. Why can't you just do neighborhoods versus each other and put that on? So that's where it's going to go. But for the TV side of things, I think that how-to videos showing how courts are built and seeing the coolest courts around the country, and we're working on some ideas to build that, and if anybody has any ideas for content, please, we're all ears, because we don't want to just be live pickleball. Now, we were the first and only for about a year and a half, network of just 24-hour pickleball. Obviously, since then, others have come on, but they're just doing live stuff. We want to do more than just live stuff. We want to actually bring the sport of pickleball, alive. That kind of thing.
Let me ask you this. In regards to, we talked earlier with the Pickleball World Cup, we're talking about the Olympics, we're talking about team competitions like the MLP. Do you think the team has a brighter future broadcast-wise and excitement-wise versus the normal tournaments that we've been doing for, the U.S. Open's separate from, you got a lot of tournaments, but U.S. Open it's built up to such a great an event.
Yeah, that's a great question. It really comes down to how it's produced. You have to make it make sense for the people at home. And that's the biggest challenge that mostly have. People have, all right, so I have 5 cameras. Hey, how does it look? That looks great, but nobody has any idea what's going on. Barely have a score bug. Let's talk about the score bug. I came up with the 2 pickleballs on the score bug. CBS asked me, could you produce our bug, actually create our bug and how it's covered? So I had 1 pickleball for the first serve, 2 pickleballs for the second serve, and then it goes to the next people. So we designed that. So to answer your question, it's really on how it's produced. It's really hard to understand the MLP format. It's really hard to understand a lot of these formats, so you really have to dummy it down. All TV is done in an 8th grade level. So you really got to dummy it down to an 8th grade. Here's how you walk, and here's how you crawl, and then make everybody understand that. So if it's produced correctly, then 100% I think the team things, not only the team things, I was at the first MLP draft, we streamed it, and they went away from cities. Then they went back to cities. I think people, as we've seen in all professional sports, people relate to like your hometown. You know what I mean? So I think if it goes to a hometown, if it goes to a city, if it goes to Florida, whatever the case may be, it's people can relate. Hey, I'm going to root for my Florida team. I'm going to root for my San Francisco team. That kind of thing. So yeah, I think the sport can do that, and I really like what they're doing with the World Pickleball. There's so many World Pickleballs. There's an India one. You have one. He has one. That's where I think Olympics will take place, where they see more countries playing the sport and it being broadcasted. Like India's got World Pickleball and it looks great. I think China's got their own and they do a great job too. So once those start catching on, I think more and more, I think the Olympics will go, but I really can't stress enough that the leadership in pickleball needs to dial it in. This reminds me of the MMA when it first started, before the UCF or UFC and Bellator and boxing, where there's 15 different titles. Pickleball's got to come together. Everybody's got to come together, and the only way that's going to happen if the leadership changes a little bit. I think the leadership right now is not where it needs to be. I think that,
Yeah, we talk one set of rules. I mean, your PPA's got one set of rules, APP has one set of rules.
It's leadership.
The sport,
yeah,
which we just talked about, the governance of the sport to get into the Olympics has to be one umbrella. And the other thing is, the big question I've had a couple people always ask me, says, how come, what's the ratings look like? How come there's no spectators? We had people sell the PPA sponsorships. They're getting the numbers now. You have the Agassi match. You get some of the celebrities now playing pickleball. The pickleball slams are selling out. But the normal pickleball tournaments and APP, PPA events, what kind of broadcast ratings are they getting? And people, I'd rather go play for 2 hours than sit and watch 2 hours, because
it relates back to lacrosse for me. I coached lacrosse for many years, and that sport's it's got the same problem, right? Like, you have to, like, on a weekend when you're going to play pickleball, which you and your friends go out and play, that's when they're broadcasting this stuff. That's when they're showing this stuff. I'd rather go play it than watch it. So you got to design tournaments. One thing that some of the tournaments did is they designed, the amateurs around, and then you could go watch the pros. That's a big thing. But I think this is a crazy statement, but I really think that the sponsorships need to think outside the box a little bit, because if they saw how many paddles that some of these countries or some of these people are selling, how many sneakers they're selling, it's not about watching it on TV. It's just getting your brand recognition out there, and you're basically just having your brand all over everything. It's not about how many people are watching TV. It's more about how many people are buying your product. And you can't really relate, hey, I saw there's only 1,000 people on the stream this week versus, they had 40,000 on TV. You got to just think outside the box. I mean, this is a player sport. I don't know how many people are playing it now. Is there a number? 60 million? Where is it at now? Every year it's another 10 million. So it's whatever. But the point is that those people are all buying sneakers. They're all buying. I mean, raise your hand right now if you play pickleball. And how many paddles have you bought in the last 2 years? And if you play all the time, you play every day, every 3 months you're buying a paddle, right? And some of these people are charging $250 for paddles that I'll show you paddles that are $100 are better. So the point is, people are buying the product, they're spending the money with that. They got to really focus in on that, not so much like how many people are watching it on TV, because and again, getting away from the live side of things and doing more stuff like, wouldn't you guys like to go see the craziest courts in the world? Let's go get video about and interview the owners and why they put their courts on, like the beach or wherever the case they put them, So those are the kind of things I think where pickleball is going to grow, and getting outside just the live stuff.
Well, I think the magazine aspect, which we launched with
Yeah.
our show, is the human interest. One question I asked everybody, why do you love pickleball? And what's your pickleball story? Everybody's got a story. Everybody in here has their own story about how pickleball found them, and they're amazing stories. I mean, how it's changed lives.
Yeah,
for people.
it's a great. If you really dive into that, you know, you need some of these sponsorships. And again, if you're here and you want to sponsor a show like that, come to me and we'll do it. I can make you picking your nose look like an epic film. It's not really the deal. It's just having the funding to go out and shoot that stuff and getting it done and post-production and getting it done. Something you want to?
Well, and I've got a funny little thing to throw in there with when COVID happened and everybody started to finally come back.
That's where the growth of pickleball
That's
really
the
started.
growth. But I remember, you know, when the NBA first came back, and you know, we were basically quarantined. We were testing every day. They were setting up pickleball courts in hotel lobbies or hotel ballrooms, so that, you know, I know Steve Nash was a big player, and you know, coaching staffs and officials, they would go play. So I think that the sport just is so contagious. But my son's going to laugh at this, although he's in his phone right now, so I don't know if he's even paying attention.
Stop screen aging.
He knows the name Scott Foster because Scott obviously is one of the fantastic NBA officials, and he was officiating some of the finals games in the series that just got finished. And Scott, he lives here in Florida, and he came up to me shortly after COVID, I mean, maybe the first U.S. Open back after COVID, and he came up to me before a game. I'm sitting there getting ready to broadcast an NBA game, and here comes the official, and he comes up to me, and he's like, Dave, he's like, I didn't know that you announced pickleball. My wife and I were watching that. I was like, we saw the rerun of the U.S. Open, and I was like, I know that guy. And he was like excited to come up to me because I was announcing pickleball. Here's a veteran NBA official. So, I mean, it's just amazing the number of people that have gotten into the sport and embraced the sport, and it is just fantastic to watch.
We got about 10 minutes. You want to ask some questions? I know some people had questions about the future of the broadcasting business. Well, we've seen the elevation. So if we have some questions here before we riff.
And I got one more video I want to show you to end up with, just to show you some of the product that we've done, but go ahead.
I've got a request and a couple of questions. So the request is simple. You guys show that montage of sports every time CBS Sports comes on. Get pickleball in there.
It's in there. You got to watch closer.
Okay. But I was going to say, if Anna Lee can be on Times Square,
here's
she
the
can
funny
certainly
thing.
be in that.
Here's the fun. Well, Anna Lee's only on Times Square because of her agent, which my son works for, which is Vayner Sports. And the funny thing is, you know, I sent them 5 different clips. I sent them Ben Johns, Kyle Yates, and they used one of the people that I don't even remember his name, honestly. You have to watch it again. But it's like they used one of the clips that I wouldn't even recommend. I just sent them 5 different clips. They just liked the way it fit in there. But yeah, it's in there. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Question number 1. I've talked to a number of producers, and one of the issues that people seem to have with pickleball is our scoring system. In order to interact, in order to engage people that aren't pickleball players, they don't get it. You win a rally, but you don't win a point because of our side out. So what do you think, and how imperative is it that we go to rally scoring, especially primarily for TV?
That's a great question. I mean, did you see what volleyball did? What was it, 6 years ago?
Say, yep.
6 years ago, they went to rally scoring to make
Correct.
it. Well, for NBC, they did it just to fit in a time slot.
Right.
It really, it's funny because this is not a time sport. There's no clock on it.
Right.
Right. And my producers, my executive producers of all the networks, they all yell at me, goes, you got to fit it into 2 hours, which is 88 minutes, which is 44 minutes an hour. And I'm like, how am I going to fit a non-time sport into a time slot? You know, so to answer your question, for television, I think people would understand it a little bit better. I don't think the players are going to like that, but the players in volleyball didn't like it either. I think pickleball will have to adapt to TV a little bit. And you know, again, it all comes down to leadership. You got to have that one, you know, where's the rule book? You know, that what USA Pickleball, you know, whether it's USA or whomever it is, they started this thing. Let's go by what they're doing, and then everybody was trying to do their own thing. They're just trying to own their own thing, you know? Yep. So not to throw too many people under the bus, but it's like, why would you do that? Let's go with one rule. Let's get into the USO. Let's get into the Olympics, and let's move on. And you know, listen, there's stuff in the, what was it? Breakdancing was in the who's breakdancing? When I was younger, I was breakdancing, but it's not an Olympic sport. No offense to the breakdancers, but pickleball could be, you know? So go ahead, I'm sorry.
The last question is this. I'm always asked, the ratings are always bad, there's not many viewers and everything else. And if you only look at the live, they're correct. But pickleball is a very unique sport. How many of you watch a match that may have taken place a month ago? How many pickleball players? So if you take a look at how many times it's repetitively watched, the numbers begin to add up.
Yeah,
So does the network look at that at all, or is it just live and that's all they care about?
All right, so a lot of great questions. I mean, you nailed it. Like CBS Sports Network does not release ratings for anybody. They don't give ratings for anybody. Like they will not show you their ratings because they can do it. They have the background. The eye sell their own thing. But we did this before the internet was like a monster. Before OTT networks and fast channels like what we're on for Pickle TV on all the different platforms like Amazon and Prime and all that. It's easy to track now. Like you and I can track it by just watching YouTube and watch who's watching YouTube. And the problem with that is, there's a negative to that, is the sponsorships. You only got 1,000 people. I can't give you $100. Right. You don't understand. Those 1,000 people will tell another 1,000 people, will tell another 1,000 people, and they're going to buy your shoes. So these sponsors have to think outside the box. It's not done the way it used to be, to get a share on network television. It's changing, I mean, I don't know if many people know what linear TV is versus OTT TV. Linear TV is what you watch on ESPN1, ESPNU, ESPN2. That's like a linear TV, Fox Sports Net, CBS Sports Network. And then if you go to OTT networks, you're talking about Pickle TV, you're talking about all these other channels. When you turn on your Samsung and there's 100 channels there, and those are tracked. It's starting to merge together. YouTube TV is the number one, in my opinion, the number one people that merge the linear and the non-linear together. And that's where it's going to go. But to answer your question, I mean, it's trackable now. It's very trackable now. But the people that come from the linear TV world are not in tune with the people that come from the OTT world, and they have to really think outside the box. In my opinion, this is just, again, my opinion about what I've seen in the last 22 years that I've been doing this. So it's hard to really say where it's going to go, but I think the UTV TV model is where it's going to go.
I got other questions, but
go
ahead, go for it.
Yeah. So
what's your name, by the way?
Seymour Rifkin.
Oh, Seymour, I know who you are. Yeah, I've heard your name before. Go ahead.
So the other question I have, maybe not a question so much, it's just an opinion. Yeah. People say that pickleball is not exciting to watch. And I come back all the time and I go, how exciting is golf?
I fall asleep on the couch when I'm watching golf.
So
no offense. I mean, I like golf, but
so my
it's a good
point
nap.
being, because of the number of golfers, because of the popularity of the sport as a participant, the participants watch because they love golf. The same thing's going to happen in pickleball.
Yeah, I think it will. And the funny thing is, you say that, and it relates back to, I was sitting watching an MLB game with my son the other day, and I go, look at the people behind the plate. They're like talking with each other. They're on their phones. They're eating a hot dog. They're actually sitting here like waiting for the next batter to come up.
Right.
And it's not the most exciting thing, but when something happens, it is exciting. So again, it's got to grow in many different ways to get to where that is, and it's a very young sport. I mean, we didn't really put pros on until 2016 is the first pro match that was on television. So, yeah. I mean, you got some time, and it's going to grow. But I want to. You have anything else? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. One quick thing I wanted to ask in regards to the televising and the future of it right now with the way that broadcasting is going. As far as the biggest thing is, as announcers, there's no time to talk about even the show replays, to talk about the personalities.
That's great.
Because the points are so fast. In tennis, you got 30 seconds towel off. You can show a replay. You can talk about Nadal wiping his hands on his butt or whatever it is. But Dave, you have no time to really even do any of the human interest stuff. And I think the personalities, that's how we have to grow these players to build up the followings. That's, in my opinion, that's some of the biggest negative things I've heard.
Oh, yeah, but on the way here, he's telling me on the way here we were actually talking, and I said, I was fortunate enough to get to talk to Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf. They were staying at the hotel I was at in Naples, and after Andre got knocked out the next night, I ran into him and had a conversation with him. And he didn't say directly, "I'm coming back next year," but he said, "Next year I'm not going to do this, and I am going to do this." So I kind of leads me to believe he's planning on coming back. So I told Ray that somebody should go to Vegas for a week or so and try to see if they can get him warming up. But that's not. I don't think that's really where you're going, Carl, because people know who Andre Agassi is, right? They're going to watch, but people don't necessarily know much about J.W. Johnson or Hunter Johnson, or even, they might know the name Paris Todd, but do they really know her? So I think there's an opportunity to tell stories there. But you're right, as a broadcaster, the sport doesn't always lend itself to those opportunities because there is such little time. And I guess that's, as I know you've called a number of tournaments as well, so I think you just kind of got to develop a feel for it and, kind of pick your spot. And usually for me, it's more, probably the beginning of the second game of a match. I'm not so focused on, oh my goodness, if I miss the call on this point, then the broadcast is terrible. I mean, sometimes it's better to give somebody something that they didn't know.
From a producer standpoint, there's this fine line to talking over a point versus not talking over a point. And I'm the person in his ear the whole time, yelling at him or cursing at him or whatever I'm doing.
No, usually you're trying to make us laugh.
I'm telling a lot of jokes just to see if Dave will laugh on TV. But the funny thing is, there's this fine line of storytelling versus just watching a point happen in front of you. And he does a incredible job at that, being able to differentiate the two. Should we talk now, or this point means absolutely nothing? So it's hard to build the stories, but when you have somebody professional like yourself, Carl, and like Dave, that can understand, that's the difference between a great sports announcer like Jim Nantz and people like that, just to know when to say when, know when to talk, know when to do your thing. Pickleball is so fast, you are going to talk over points. I'm sorry. And the fact that you can't talk over points, that's not. You feel the broadcast.
You got to just know the way to do it. That's all. I want to go back real quick to Seymour asked the question about rally scoring. Seymour, hell yeah. Let's have it. Although the one thing that I did that helped me with broadcasting, and it took me probably 6 years of calling pickleball before it dawned on me, but I remember the first 4 or 5 years that I did pickleball, I'd sit there and I'd be like, wow, we've been stuck on 7-3 for a long time, and not have any idea really how long. And finally, one day I was doing a PPA match, and it dawned on me, I should just start tracking serves. So I just started tracking every time there's a serve, and it's super simple. If there's a serve and it doesn't get a point, I put a circle, and if there's a serve and it gets a point, I put what point it is. And then when I'm calling the match, I can look and I can be like, we've gone 16 straight serves without a point. And that's a little bit more insightful than just saying we've been stuck on 7-3 for a long time.
And that's just from Dave being a professional and being around sports and scoring sports the whole time. And you're really good at that. And that's one of the main reasons, not because I like this guy, but it's one of the main reasons I begged him to come to this. And also, every event I have, he's my first call. That's one reason. So, anybody have any other questions? I'm going to leave you with one more video. Go ahead. I've got a question in the back. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if it's been covered yet, but what about a Hawkeye system? How come we're not seeing more of that?
You got $20,000 in your pocket. The funny thing is, listen, the U.S. Open, they've asked me every year to do something. Try to do something, and then I go to them with a number, and they're like, no, so we're just going to go back to what we were doing. So Hawkeye is super expensive. Now, there's a couple of guys that were along the ride during this whole process that have made a replay system. Kyle, I think his name is. He did a great job with it. But the Hawkeye is so expensive. It's a whole nother crew. It's a whole nother camera setup. It's beautiful. It's incredible. But the money is not there for it yet. Tennis, they spend millions of dollars on that kind of stuff. But go ahead.
But if we've got a swing vision that can be pretty accurate, I think there's versions. And if you've got pro players calling their own points. There's a
Yeah,
big
it's crazy.
incentive to,
I totally agree. That's why I introduced replay to the sport, because I thought that you needed this, because the ball, you guys all see it. If the ball is like bent this way, it's halfway on the line or not on the line. What do you call on the line or not on the line? I think every tournament should have replay, and they go by the honor system of what you play on your local park. You got to call. I like what USA Pickleball did. That you call your own side, and the other team has a problem with that. That's up. That's your problem. I think the rule is.
You've added the video challenges now in the replay, so at least there's some clearance, because the biggest, I think, aspect too is your pickleball referee stands there 9 out of 10 times. I can't make that call because I didn't see it. I'm not sure what they're watching all the time. They're looking this way, looking this way. They won't overrule a call. So it's
How many pickleball referees are under 50 too? No offense, I'm over 50. So it's not everybody can see everything. So you really need that. You know what I mean? I agree with that. You need that.
Well, and how many people have played pickleball and hit a ball and then been like, was that in? I mean, it happened so quick. You're like, I don't know. Maybe it was out. Maybe it was in. I was the one who hit it. I was right there. I got no idea.
It's when in doubt, it's out.
Yeah.
When in doubt, it's out.
And who calls it? Like the guy who played it or the guy who watched it? It's tough. Hawkeye would be outstanding. Hey, why don't you invent the cheapest Hawkeye and we will use it? I will hire you every tournament I do. All right,
That's a new product for next year.
Yeah.
A pickle Hawkeye.
Any other questions?
Let's roll a video.
All right, we're gonna leave you with one video of some of the other product that we've done through the process. I'd be crazy if I didn't tell you, Dave just launched an app called Tickscape. You can basically go to one place and see all the prices of any tournament or any event. You want to talk about it real quick?
Yeah, well, I'd love to get some pickleball. Oh, I do actually have PPA and MLP are on there.
That's your problem.
US Open was not. I got to talk to Mike and Bob and make that change for next year. You can download it if you have an iPhone, you can download it right now in the App Store. It's called Tickscape, Tixscape. It's basically like Google Flights for tickets to live events, concerts, theater, sporting events, you name it. And it should be coming out on Android probably in the next week.
Yeah, so not only being on TV, he's been coding the whole thing. It's sitting in my living room. I just can't.
I've learned to code.
Yeah,
if you've got a lot of willpower and access to ChatGPT, there's a lot of things you can learn.
So go there and check that out. I also have a pickleball brand called Ninja Pickleball Club. It's paddles, balls, and bags. I would put them up against anybody's. And obviously Pickle TV that we have on. Please watch it if you can. If you have any content at all you want to get on, reach out to me. I'll put you on.
And I left a bunch of business cards on the back table, so if anybody wants to get a hold of me or get a hold of Ray through me, you can pick one up on the way out.
Sneaky, I didn't know that. All right, we want to play the video? And again, thank you to my son Ray for being our videographer and our guy. He's amazing, great kid. Go ahead, Ray, play it, and we'll leave with it. Play the one that's the, what's left, the MLP? Yeah, and is there one that has all the stuff on it? What are the last two? Yeah, play that one. Yeah, that's fine. You're going to see the first PPA event ever done, APP, Vegas Open, all that stuff. We'll just leave you with this. But thanks for listening to us. Appreciate it.
Desert here in Phoenix, Arizona, where the pickleball world calls the JW Marriott home for the next 3 days, as the Pro Pickleball Association presents the 2021 Foot Solutions Grand Slam. We're thrilled you're here, everybody. Great to have you with us, Drew Felios. Honored to be joined by the passion and enthusiasm of 10-time national champion, 12-time U.S. Open champion Dave Weinbach. 2021, a year unlike any other in pickleball. And on the final championship Sunday in Vegas, the game's elite emerging stars take center court to claim PPA glory. The heart of McGuffin, the resilience of Riley Newman, the will of Barr and Stone. The PPA championships are on in Vegas right now. The PPA has come to Charlotte for North Carolina's largest tournament ever. For teams here, it's about surviving one more point. Teams like Jones and Dyson making their place on pickleball's map. Now it's Championship Sunday. Emotions are high for Julian Arnold, with Matt and Lucy always having an answer. Welcome to the Invisalign North Carolina Open. Coverage begins right now.
Way too fly, yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. Got this whole view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they want to come take my place?
Charlotte, North Carolina transformed into pickleball heaven over the last 4 days. Emotions and stakes extremely high at the Invisalign North Carolina Open.
Here you go, Carl.
By the way, you bringing in drone shots was so good too. Bringing in drone
North
shots.
Point Bank Delray beats Pickleball Open. Right here on CBS Sports Network.
Back in early June, the NPL debuted with its inaugural season, made its way around the country, and today it reaches its crescendo with the championship from Glendale, Arizona, and is coming your way next, right now on CBS Sports Network.
Five regular season events over the last 5 months have led the NPL to Pickle Lodge in Cincinnati, Ohio, where this afternoon the Dream Cloud Championship will be awarded right here on CBS Sports Network.
Carl's a champion on that one.
All week long, they
There's a
have
couple
come
more,
to
that's it.
Atlantic City, New Jersey in quest of a gold medal. And they have been tough to come by because the competition has been fierce. What awaits on the final day inside the Atlantic City Convention Center? Find out next. Well, few cities in the world have been affected by COVID-19 quite like Las Vegas. But Sin City is slowly starting to come back online, a point underscored by the green lighting of this year's Las Vegas Pickleball Open. This year's tourney may not be open to fans, but the play all week has been electric. And we're expecting much more of the same in today's coverage of the Mixed Doubles Championships, brought to you from atop the Plaza Hotel and Casino, the place to be downtown. It is a sun-splashed, spectacular September Sunday here in Sin City, and we are excited to be a part of the coverage of this year's 2020 Las Vegas Pickleball Open from atop the Plaza Hotel and Casino. And hello.
Right, that's the end, right? Yeah.
And imagine playing on top of the Las Vegas Plaza Hotel pickleball. It's pretty crazy out there. But before we leave, I want to give one of our Golden Pickle Awards to Ray, who's one of the real pioneers in broadcasting. Good friend for many, many years. One of the 11 awards this weekend for growing the sport of pickleball. Come on in, guys.
There we go. Cool.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks,
Hey,
Dave.
Carl, thanks a lot. You've been a pioneer yourself, man. You've done a lot for the sport.
take it back.
Thank you.
I'll take it
No,
back.
it's mine. Just kidding. Thank you, man.
Great job,
Thank you,
Dave.
Carl.
Thanks
Appreciate
for
it.
coming in. All right. Appreciate it, Ray.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks everybody.